We're about to get real, guys. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that has been weighing heavy on my heart, something that I feel like I should talk to you guys about because I don't know if anybody else is going through this or has been through this. I know I struggled with this a little bit after transplant, and the reason why I want to talk about it is because a couple weeks ago I was feeling that fear again, and I never made a video about it, but I wanted to, and I just never had the time to sit down and like make it. Like I would put like other videos first, but I feel like this is important and I feel like we should talk about it because you guys know here on my channel I like to be as open with you guys as possible. You know, it's good to be transparent with people, be real with people. So I wanted to talk about this subject. But before we continue, guys, I want to quickly introduce myself for anybody that is new here. My name is Cindy Flores, and on my channel I share my kidney transplant journey as well as testimony, travel vlogs, a ton of stuff. So if you are new, consider subscribing. Also, if you guys find this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Now let's begin. So I first want to start out by saying no, I am not medically diagnosed with PTSD or even have the severity of PTSD. But after dialysis and getting my transplant, I struggled with a little bit of fear and a little bit of stress of my past that I lived on dialysis, if that makes sense. So no, I'm not medically diagnosed with PTSD. No, it's not to the extreme as some of our veterans have, or people that have been through traumatic times in their life that is like imprinting. No, but it's something that I went through and something that, you know, occasionally you think about it, and occasionally it comes to your mind and you're just like, you feel that little panic or that little fear or that anxious feeling. And I wanted to talk about it because I'm sure I'm not the only one that went through this, but I want to talk about my experience after my dialysis experience and what I was feeling after I got my transplant. So when I was discharged from the hospital, I remember it was a Monday. I was discharged, and I remember on my way home after the hospital, it was already like the sun was setting, I remember. But of course the enemy always comes to rob. And when I was on my way home from the hospital, I remember I felt, instead of feeling like this joy, which I did have this joy, but of course in the midst of you having this joy, the enemy's gonna creep in with a little bit of doubt and a little bit of fear and a little bit of this and that. I felt like this fear, like something like I needed to go home and hook up to the machine. And I remember I was feeling like this anxious, like, oh, I need to be home, like I need to be home because I need to go plug up on the machine, like it's getting late now, I'm gonna have to set up, like go to bed, like you know, I was just stressing about it when yet I had a transplant. I had no need to stress about it, but that's what happens, you know. The enemy loves to pull you back to your old captivity, and that's what he was trying to do with my life. He was trying to pull me back by being enslaved by this machine, and that fear that came with it, and the weight that came with it all, if that makes sense. And that's something that I was feeling for about 2 weeks after my transplant. And then on top of that, I would also, every time I ate, like I didn't have this peace. Like when I was eating, I felt fine, but after I finished my meal, I would literally quickly think like, oh, where are my binders? I need to take my binders. Like, where are my binders? Get me my binders. If I don't take my binders, then I'm gonna get sick, or just have like that fear, like, oh, my binders. And I know, like I said, I had already had my transplant. Like I didn't need binders. It's just that fear and that stress that you need these binders. You're dependent on these binders. Another way that the enemy was trying to grip me was through nightmares. And I don't know if you guys ever had this, because I even had this sometimes when I was doing peritoneal dialysis, and I would occasionally have nightmares. But after my transplant, I remember I would still have those occasional nightmares. Let me tell you around the lines how it usually was, because it was always basically the same nightmare. And it was me that I had the permacatheter. You guys know how dangerous and how risky this is. And this one, you cannot get it wet, because then it's like, it can kill you. So in the dream, I would always be captured by these guys, these evil guys. And in my dream, basically they would keep me captive, and they'd be like, we're gonna throw you into the pool and see if you could swim. And I remember in my dream, I would be begging, because literally they would have me like this, and I would be begging, say, no, please don't throw me into the pool, because I'm gonna die. I have this, I do dialysis, please, like, please, and just be begging. And every time they're about to throw me into the pool is when I would wake up. And that was for me like a nightmare. It might not sound like a nightmare for anybody else, but that was something that would haunt me, because the heart permacatheter is so dangerous. So I remember when I was going through these 2 weeks of like this creeping of fear, or this creeping of, I guess you could say, anxiety, but I don't even want to call it anxiety in reality, because it wasn't like the way I experienced anxiety before. It was honestly like a fear of going back, a fear of living in that stressful life of dialysis. And I remember when I was going through this, I just kept telling myself, you know, Cindy, you're healed. You're healed. And even though like I was not healed by a miracle, because I do say that transplant was my healing. Like, I know doctors don't like to call it healed. They like to call a transplant another medical treatment. But I like to tell myself that this was my healing, because honestly, it changed my life completely, and I couldn't be more grateful for my whole transplant journey. So like I was saying, during those 2 weeks, I was just praying. I was just like, God, take away this weight that I'm feeling, this fear. Take it away, because I know it's not from you. It was from the enemy. And I knew it was creeping on me, and I knew it was trying to put that fear, because once you feel that fear and you start to give into that fear, and you start to letting it consume you, letting it worry you, the enemy will come, and he will come more aggressively. Because think of it like this: we are the temple. Our body is the temple, and not just in the physical, but also in the spiritual. So our body is the temple. And once you open that door, it becomes to crack with fear. The enemy tries to open it with fear, with anxiety, with depression, with stress. Once we open that door completely, the enemy will come with something bigger, something greater than the little small bump in the road that you need to overcome, if that makes sense. I remember I just kept praying and saying, Lord, let me just trust in you, and let me just put this fear that I'm feeling on you, because I really can't. Around 2, maybe even 3 weeks, it started to go away. But I remember I would tell like my sister and my mom and dad, I'd be like, guys, you know, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. And it was me venting to them, and honestly, it was just the stress of it all, and the stress of that I just went through trying to come over my life. And the reason why I'm just now talking about it about 2.5 years after my transplant is because, like I was saying a couple weeks ago, it was put in my heart for the simple fact that I was babysitting my nephew. Well, I babysit my niece and my nephew, and then my nephew, his name is Dallas, and Dallas and dialysis sounds alike. And that fear was trying to creep back in my life, because every time I would say Dallas, I would say sometimes dialysis, or that would just come out. And being around Dallas all the time, obviously that's dialysis, it was reminding me for some reason of dialysis. And I started to feel like this rejection, it like would pull me back to those memories of hemodialysis. And it's crazy, because I was thinking about hemodialysis. I wasn't thinking about peritoneal dialysis when I was saying Dallas. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I don't know, maybe the Lord was allowing me, because nothing moves without the permission of God. So maybe God was reminding me, you know, through dialysis, so I can make this video. And I know it might sound funny to you guys. I feel like the Lord is trying to say, not just to me, but also to you guys, if you are dealing with something like this, it's important that you talk to somebody, that you guys pray, that you guys trust in the Lord, and don't let yourself be consumed by fear or worry. Don't let the enemy drag you back to the life that you have been set free, the life that you deserve. I wanted to make this video because this is really important. And I don't know, maybe it can help just one person out there that is maybe going through stress after dialysis, or just anything in their life that they can, feel that stress from. So I just want to say, trust in the Lord, stay in prayer, stay in obedience, and just let Him guide you through that trial that you could be facing right now in your life. Trust in Him. Let Him help you through whatever you are going through. And I know sometimes we want to take the job of what God is supposed to do, and sometimes we want to act on our own, be impatient and jump to things, but the Lord is saying, be patient. Everything works perfect on my time. So I'm just going to end it here. I really hope this video can encourage one of you guys or a couple of you guys, because that's what we're here for, to be real with one another, to encourage one another, and to pray for one another, honestly. So if you guys ever have any prayer requests, leave them down below as well, because I do love to pray for you guys. I always pray for my subscribers because you guys always ask me for prayer for certain things, so I do like to pray for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video, and God bless you.